in the QBO gym, and this is the place where we have numerous hands-on exercises that simulate real-life scenarios that you may encounter as a bookkeeper. Each month covers a variety of new topics and scenarios, and to make it a little bit easier for you, we break it down into 4 different sections. So if you are looking to work on your bookkeeping skills, this is the place for you. And if you want to do a whole month's worth of these all on your own, be sure to join our free 5-day bookkeeping challenge. All you need to do is click on the link in the description. But let's get into today's exercise, which is coming from our June Year 1 warm-ups section. At the top here is an animated video to give you a synopsis of what is going on in Craig's world this month. He is our fictitious business owner. Further down is an interactive pre-assessment quiz that relates to the video up above. Below that are all of the exercises in this section. And then at the bottom here is an optional area where after you have gone through and completed all of your exercises, you will unlock some sample marketing posts that you can use on your LinkedIn to share with everyone what you have learned so far. So let's dive into today's exercise where we're going to practice processing bank fee transactions. Go ahead and click on that link to have the exercise pulled up for you. I have it over here on the right side of my screen, so let's read through the scenario. After you input all the sales and expense transactions, it's time to process bank feeds. This means comparing what went into and out of the bank and ensuring that there is a correct record of it in QBO. You will need to be in the sample company to do this exercise. If you are not sure how to get into the sample company or get your own free QBOA account, be sure to click on the link in the description. I have the sample company pulled up here on the left side of my screen. This is the dashboard and what it will look like when you sign into the sample company. So let's go ahead and get started with the exercise. To begin processing those bank fee transactions, we need to get to the banking center. So from the left navigation bar, we're going to hover over transactions and then select bank transactions. This is the left navigation bar here. Here is transactions. Hover over that and then go ahead and select bank transactions. Alternatively, you could have clicked on bank transactions here, which is under the bookmarks. Now, if this is your first time in this area, you will get this pop-up here just giving you a little overview of what this area is all about. We don't need to watch the video or go through this step-by-step guidance, so go ahead and click on the X to exit out of that pop-up. And here you can see we are in the bank feed, and it's specifically the one for the checking account, and you can tell that it's the checking account because this tile is blue. Now, in a real life scenario, you would want to double check to make sure that what QBO thinks is a match is in fact a correct match to the QBO transaction. Now, since you are the one that entered the transactions in the first place, you can usually do this easily with a quick glance. For this exercise, we are just going to assume that the matches are in fact correct. So let's go ahead and filter out this list a little bit more. We're going to, in the All Transactions dropdown, select Suggested Matches. So that dropdown is right here. It says All Transactions 25. Click on that down arrow, and then we're going to select Suggested Matches so that we are only seeing the ones that QBO thinks is in fact a match. Now, there are a couple of the transactions here that have multiple matches, so we're going to address those first. And you can tell whether it has one potential match or it has multiple, because if you look in this field, there is a green box that says one match found, and this one says 2 matches found. So some of them have already found one match and some have 2. So let's address these first. Go ahead and click on the one for Pam's sites so that it expands and you can see more information. Note that the transaction date will vary as the sample company is always adjusting. So the dates that you see here may be different than what you see on your screen right now. Just keep that in mind as we're going through this exercise. So when attempting to make a match, QBO only searches by the amount. When you look at the options, you can see that the bank description matches the expense recorded for Pam's sites, which is down here. So QBO is only searching by amount. They're not looking by date. They're not looking by vendor or customer. They are just looking at amount. So there are 2 transactions that are for $75. So QBO is not sure which one it is. But if we look at the bank detail here that says Pam Sites, we know that this is the correct one. So since it is already selected, all we need to do is click on the green match button. So go ahead and do that. And now that one has been matched and the other one has been subsequently been matched as well. Now we have another one here for squeaky clean car wash. So let's go ahead and click on that one to expand it. Go ahead and click on that squeaky clean. And you will notice here that there are two transactions, but they are different types and transaction dates. So we have two for squeaky clean car wash for the exact same amount, but they're two different kinds of transactions and two different dates. We want to select the one that matches the date on the bank feed. So if you see here, mine says 5/7/5/7. Your dates again may be different, but you want the date that's here to match the date that is here. It should already be the selected one, the one on the top. So once you have confirmed that the dates are matching, go ahead and click on the green match button. And now that transaction has been matched as well. Note that if this were a real life situation, you would want to investigate the other transactions later. But now we have at this point only single matches left on the list, and so we can accept these matches in batch. You can confirm by just scrolling through and seeing that there's the green one match found box in each of these. So in order to do this in batch action, we are just going to click on the checkbox at the top of the column to select all of the transactions. That's this box right here next to date. Go ahead and select that or click on that to have all of them selected. And then we're going to click on the accept button. It's on this black bar that just appeared. Go ahead and click on that. Now all of those transactions have been matched. And since there are no more matched transactions on this list, we need to go ahead and click out of the filter by clicking on the X next to suggested matches. So click on that X next to suggested matches to remove that filter. And you will see that we now have only 5 transactions left. They are not, QBO is not finding potential matches because they're uncategorized. And so we need to look at these a little bit more closely. So you will see the first one here for Books by Bessie that there was money received from her, Craig's former bookkeeper. Craig confirms that he overpaid her final bill and that she has sent this refund. So let's click into her transaction, which is the first one here. In the account field, we're going to select legal professional fees slash or bookkeeper, not slash. So if you click into it, you can scroll through here trying to find it. I would recommend just typing in bookkeeper just so it shows up a little bit easier. So here is the one that we want. It is that sub account of legal and professional fees, which is why that shows up here in this name. Go ahead and click on it. And then we're going to go ahead and click on add. We have now categorized it properly. All right, so you will need to ask Craig about the A rental transactions, these 3 right here, to find out the story of what happened here. But first, do a little investigating in the Hicks hardware transaction. Let's look at this one next. Before adding from the bank feeds, you should always search to see if you can find a transaction that may have been entered into QBO incorrectly. So let's click into it and see if we can find some more information. We're going to click on that transaction, so just click on it to expand it. And then we're going to click on the button next to match to see if there's other potential matches that may be associated with this. Now you'll notice that there is a Hicks hardware transaction that is just 2 cents different from that on the bank feed. So this is what is showing on the bank feed for $24.38. If we look down here, there is this Hicks hardware expense for $24.36. Now, whenever there is a discrepancy like this, the bank is always right. So this means that we need to find and adjust that QBO transaction so that it will match. We're going to click cancel, which is behind my video screen right here. It's on the bottom left corner. You can click on cancel or alternatively click on the X on the top right corner. Either way is fine. We just need to exit out of it. Now, there are a number of ways to search for the incorrect transaction. For this exercise, we're going to search for Hicks Hardware. So let's go into the vendor list. So from the left navigation bar, hover over expenses and then select vendors. So over here on that left navigation bar, expenses almost halfway down, hover over expenses and then select vendors. We're going to then scroll down to find Hicks Hardware and then select it. So scroll down, here is Hicks Hardware. Go ahead and select their name. And then we want to look for the transaction, the one that's showing as $24.36. It is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 one down towards the bottom here. We want to click on View Edit so that we can see that expense transaction. Once that expense transaction pulls up for us, in the amount field, we're going to change it to $24.38. So click into that amount box, delete that 6 and put an 8 instead. When you hit the tab key, you will see that QBO has updated the expense to show $24.38. We are good here, so click on the green Save and Close button on the bottom right corner. And now that one has been saved. And you can see from the list here that it has been updated to $24.38. Now let's go back into the banking center. So from the left navigation bar, once again, we're going to hover over transactions to then select bank transactions. So hover over transactions here, select bank transactions. Again, you could have clicked on bank transactions directly. And this time you will notice that Hicks Hardware transaction is now matching the bank feed. So let's go ahead and click on that match button right there. And that one has been matched. And now we just have those 3 that you would need to ask Craig about later, as we mentioned before. But for now, let's move on to processing the transactions in the savings account. Now, to get to that savings account, you just need to click on the savings tile right here. So we just finished checking and now we have the savings. And now let's look here. It seems that there is only one transaction that is finding a match. So let's go ahead and click on that match button right there. And now we are all set. You can see that there are no more transactions to review here in the savings account. Both here it says that it's all set, and you can see also that there is a check mark here showing that there are no other ones to review. Now we're all finished with processing the bank feeds today. You could work on the MasterCard, which is the next tile over. There has some 7 transactions there. You could work on that at another time, but for the purposes of this exercise, you have finished processing the bank fee transactions. Now, if you like this exercise and you'd like to do more like it, be sure to join our free 5-day bookkeeping challenge. All you need to do is click on the link in the description. We have finished the warm-up section and we move on to the strength training section with our next exercise where we practice importing products and services. And I will see you in the